We don't have any busing.
Oh, okay, I was wondering how that affected. And how does this No Child Left Behind affect?
Oh boy, you need to invite me back to answer that question. You really do, and I'm happy to do it. We have a lot more to tell you, so go ahead.
What is bed check?
We actually go, well, we do two things. We check, everybody that comes into our district, we do check the tax rolls to see if they own a home.
Okay.
And if they own a home and have taken the owner's exemption on that home, that's where they live. In California, you can have one residence. And if that's the case, we don't enroll them. Do we catch everybody? Absolutely not. I'm sure in this room you may have a dozen people you know about. But as soon as we have some inkling, some returned mail, anything, we do go out, we look where the kids live, we go in the home, we ask to go in. We don't go in uninvited, obviously. We check to see that they do indeed live there. And we've done things like wait outside the house to see where a kid leaves to go to school. We've done a variety of things. So we require a lot of evidence around bed checks.
When we get 4 students with different last names who all have the same address, it raises a flag.
There's a number of flags that are raised by this, yes.
I'm a product of public education from India, and we pay fees, like each student, I used to pay 19 rupees. You know, each
It's
student
not
has to
constitutional.
So here in America, I see, kids don't pay any fees, so that's another option.
Well, we'd have to change the Constitution of California and the United States. Probably not going to happen in my lifetime either. Anyway, let me keep going here. The community gives us lots of this support. You may be aware that in '98 there was a facilities bond passed in this district, and also there were parcel tax dollars given to us in 2004 that'll be up in 2011. We are very proud of the fact that we're efficient managers. We have very collaborative relations with our negotiations and our union groups, and it's really important for you to know we are not having the strife that's happening in Cupertino Union. I wish them well. I'm supporting them. We are not the teachers on strike. We are the teachers who were on NPR because we were the only union in the United States that took a voluntary rollback rather than cutting programs in 2003. We have powerful relationships with our unions, and we're proud of it, and we're proud of them. They're great. I talked about the residency effort. We have funded our GASB 45, which means our retirement funding is in place. We have an annual reserve of 5% with a statutory limit of 3%. That was done in a collaborative effort with our unions. And we have a low overhead of dollars. We have the same number of administrators roughly as Mountain View Los Altos that has 2 high schools. We have for 5.
Wow.
So we put our dollars close to the classroom. We're proud of that. On average, the statewide average for high school districts is 78.3% of general fund dollars spent close to the classroom. That means teachers, that means librarians, that means counselors, that means instructional aides. And we are at 81.7. The 2 districts that beat us, Palo Alto is a unified school district. Elementary school districts typically have more teachers because of 20-to-1 for K through 3. And Eastside Union has more help. Again, I talked about that help for the categorical funding, and that's the basis for them. But in terms of local high school districts, we spend our dollars where it should be spent, which is close to our kids. So let's talk about the future. We have ongoing facilities needs. This is really a kitchen in the district. Want to have lunch?
It's on the back of Jake's.
I'm not going to go there. They help us sometimes. Okay, this is one of our stadiums. This is one of thousands of potholes.
That's it, right?
And this is a map of all the tracks and fields in the county. The red circles are the all-weather tracks. The green is the artificial turf, and the red circles around gray are the ones that have kept real grass but have refurbished them. And so what we've got here is we are the only district in the county that has not refurbished our tracks and fields. And they really, whether you think athletics is a good thing or a bad thing, what you have to know is that they've become hazards. And so it is a problem for us, and we have to deal with it. We know we want to continue to increase our academic offerings. When we did do the cutbacks, and even with the parcel tax, We have not been able to continue to offer kids consistently 2 courses in one subject, math, science. You know, kids want to take 2 sciences every year. Kids want to take 2 math courses at the same time. We do as much as we can. We cannot do as much as we'd like. We know we need to increase student support services. We know we need additional classified staff. All that growth that I showed you in students, we have not grown in classified staff. That's the people in the office, that's the custodial staff, that has not increased. And the biggest issue we have right here is this one. Creating competitive salaries for our teaching staff, and here's the picture. If you go to Mountain View, Los Gatos, Palo Alto, East Side, Cupertino Elementary, you can make more money as a teacher than you can at the Fremont Union High School District. And we have lost 5 teachers this week. We were recruiting for next year, 2, 1 to Mountain View, 2 to Los Gatos, and 2 to Palo Alto. And I can't say to them, no, come to us.
Yeah.
They have to live in this community too. So, we're going for a new school bond in June of 08, this June, and we want to fix those facilities. The nice thing about school bonds is we can do some new interesting things with them, and I'll talk more about that. We know that in 2011, when the parcel tax dies, we need more parcel tax money. I can tell you about how much. We need to triple that parcel tax. That's not easy for realtors to hear, but that's the truth. Because if you want these schools to remain as excellent as they are, we are going to have more dollars, and despite the good advice we have from someone here in the second row, it's not going to happen to change state funding that quickly. What's happening instead of bake sales for schools is we run parcel taxes and bond measures. It is the only way to take local funding and continue to keep local schools great. You know probably already this, school bonds take 55% of the voters, parcel taxes take the supermajority. We did a survey in September, again in February, because we were worried about the change in the economy. What we said is the voters have said to us they'll pass a bond measure. They're not ready to pass an increase in the parcel tax. They passed the parcel tax again today with a modest increase, but not a big increase. But they also said, we found out that passing a bond issue where you're making changes that are visible to the community, where they can see you're taking their dollars and improving their schools, will build support for a parcel tax. Along with this kind of campaign that I'm on right now, which is to help everybody understand, we do a lot with little. So here's the plan. We're going to ask the voters for a school bond now. We're going to do the projects that we think everyone in the community and the schools desperately need. We're going to talk about how to help our operating expenses using those bond measures. That means doing things like a technology plan and an energy plan. We're going to do things like this. I'm going to be saying this kind of speech in my sleep. I'm going to reach out to everybody I can because I want you to understand how our schools are funded and how our schools are run. And we're going to show you how we take your bond money and make it right. And like it says, we're going to deliver the finest education around, and we're going to continue to do that. And then we're going to ask you for more. That's just the truth. So board voted for this $198 million bond just because these kind of statistics I know really, really matter to you. But this is what it's going to do. Technology, science labs, kitchen facilities, solar, which we can talk more about if you have questions about it, modernize tracks and fields, repair infrastructure. And the $198 million, just so you know, is on assessed value $12 per 100,000 of assessed value. It's pretty cheap. We got that number by doing our voter survey. That's where they said we were sure to pass. So that was, you know, that's a reasonable amount. And you cannot have a senior exemption, just so you know, on bond measures. That's not it's against the law. And so what we do say to our seniors who do have exemptions on our parcel, which we support completely, is that their assessed value is often quite low, so the effect on them is not so great.
Right.
Okay? So this is Measure B, just so you know, and we need to continue to do all these things and let you know that it's still really all about our kids and staff, and this thing died, so I can't help you. But I guess my time was up.
That's it.